Good morning, students. Here I am, Mrs. Tanya. Yesterday, the story quality I have explained till page number 30, and there we have seen that how the narrator came and he came to know that Gessler brother, the elder brother, passed away, and the younger one was looking so old that narrator couldn't identify that he is the younger one. And he also came to know that the shop, the half part was given to someone else, as Gessler brothers, they were not having the money to pay for the shop. And why, and means what was the reason behind it? The reason was that many new shopkeepers were coming, as they used to advertise their project, their brand, their things, so their market was on high demand, and they, as they were making the qualitative thing, but they were not advertising, hoarding or anything they were doing, so their market was not so high, so slowly they were in loss. Now we'll move on with the page number 31, where we see, please open up your book. He says here, page number 31, he says, I ordered several pairs. It was very long before they came, but they were better than ever. One simply could not wear them out, and soon after that I went abroad. Now he said, the narrator ordered several pairs, but so many pairs of shoes no one can wear. But still he ordered, and soon after that he went abroad. It was over a year before I was again in London, and the first shop I went to was my old friend's. I had left a man of 60, I came back to one of 75. Pinched and worn and tremulous, who genuinely this time did not at first know me. Now when he came back, he saw the man who was 60 years of age. He was looking like 75, worn out. "Oh, Mr. Gessler," I said, sick at heart, "how splendid your boots are. See, I have been wearing this pair nearly all the time. I have been abroad, and they are not half worn out, are they?" Now he said, "Mr. Gessler," and he said, "See, this is the pair of boots I used to wear. Full I was in abroad, and it did not worn out." He looked long at my boots, a pair of Russia leather, and his face seemed to regain steadiness. Putting his hand on my instep, he said, "Do they fit you here?" I had trouble with that pair, I remember. So he said to him that, "Do they fit you here?" He touched there. If you remember, he said that this pair of boots were not so good. It is pinching, creaking. He said, "Is it fit?" Because he remembered that with these boots he had a trouble. I assured him that they had fitted beautifully. He said, "Yes, sir, it has fitted to me beautifully." "Do you want any boots?" he said. He said, "Do you want any boots? I can make them quickly. It is a slack time." He said quickly because he understood people want the things quickly. So he said, "Quickly I will make it." I answered, "Please, please, I want boots all around, every kind." He said, "Yes, please. I want all types of boots," because the narrator understood Mr. Gessler is in need of money. So he said, "Yes, I am ready to make the boot, means I want the pair of boots. I will make a fresh model. Your foot must be bigger." And with utter slowness he traced round my foot and felt my toes, only once looking up to say. He said, "Your foot are now bigger." You were, from young age the narrator is ordering the pair of boots from him. He said, "Now your foot are bigger, and I will just take the measurement. Did I tell you my brother was dead?" Now again he was telling the narrator, "Did I tell you that my brother is no more?" To watch him was painful. So feeble had he grown. I was glad to get away. Narrator said it was really difficult to watch him, to see his miserable condition. And narrator was feeling just to move away fast. I had given those boots up when one evening they came. Opening the parcel, I set the 4 pair out in a row. Then, one by one, I tried them on. Now, one by one, he tried the pair, and then what happened? There was no doubt about him in shape and fit. In finish and quality of leather, they were the best he had ever made me. And in the mouth of one of the town walking boots, I found his bill. And one of the parcel, in one of the mouth of the boot, there was the bill. The amount was the same as usual, but it gave me quite a shock. He had never before sent it in till quarter day. The bill was not a problem, the money was not a problem. The problem was Mr. Gessler never did this kind of thing. He used to send the boots, he used to give the thing, but he never asked for money because he knew his customers will pay. This was shocking thing how the bill came. I flew downstairs and wrote a check and posted it at once with my own hand. So he thought, narrator thought a while, maybe he's in urgent need of money, that is why he's sending the bill. So immediately he wrote the check and put it. A week later, passing the little street, I thought I would go in and tell him how splendidly the new boots fitted. But when I came to where his shop had been, his name was gone. Still there in the window were the slim pumps and the patent leathers with cloth tops, the sooty riding boots. I went in very much disturbed, and the two little shops again made into one. Was a young man with an English face. Now what happened? Before it was two shop, again that two shops were one. And there was an Englishman. Mr. Gessler in? I said. Narrator said, is Mr. Gessler there? He gave me a strange, ingratiating look. Ingratiating means too hard to please. I have written here. No, sir. He said no. But we can attend to anything with pleasure. He said, no, sir, no Mr. Gessler here. But if you want anything, we are there. We have taken the shop over. You have seen our name, no doubt, next door. We make for some very good people. He said, you have seen our name out, the shopkeeper said there, and we do the work. And our name is there outside. If you have anything, you can tell us. Yes, yes, I said, but Mr. Gessler, oh, he answered, dead. What he said? Gessler? What he said? Dead. Dead? But I only received these boots from him last Wednesday week. He said, but last Wednesday only I received these boots and he is no more. Ah, he said, a shocking go. Poor old man starved himself. Good God, he said, oh, poor old man. He was starving. Slow starvation, the doctor called it. You see, he went to work in such a way. Would keep the shop on, wouldn't have a soul touch his boots except himself. He said it was slow starvation because he never do any advertisement. He was in slow starvation and he never allowed his boots to be touched by anyone else. When he got an order, it took him such a time. People won't wait. He lost everybody and there he had sit going on and on. He said, people nowadays are so busy, they don't wait for such a time and he takes long time. On and on. I will say that for him. Now the narrator said, not a man in London made a better boots, but look at the competition. He said, if I say it truly, the narrator said, not a single man in London can make the boots better than Mr. Gessler. But look at the competition. But he said, see the competition. Nowadays, the competition is more than the quality of the thing. He never advertised, would have the best leather too and do it all himself. Well, there it is. What could you expect with his ideas? He said, what could you expect? But starvation, he said, what the thing happened? The result, only starvation. They may be a bit flowery as the saying is, but I know myself. He was sitting over his boots day and night. To the very last you see, I used to watch him. He said, whatever the people say, but I know. He used to make his boots with full passion. He used to sit day and night to do so. You see, I used to watch him. Never gave himself time to eat, never had a penny in the house. All went in rent and leather. He said never he had a money to eat, nothing to do, only busy with the boots, and whatever he get, he used to give for the rent and the leather. How he lived so long, I don't know. Writer said, I don't know how he lived this much. He regularly let his fire go out. He was a character, but he made good boots. He said he was a character, best character, but his boots were good. Yes, I said he made good boots. Writer also said, yes, he made good boots. And I turned and went out quickly, for I did not want that youth to know that I could hardly see. He said, I don't wanted to know that man, the youth who was telling me that I could hardly see anything. Means he was not able to know, he was not able to show him that he knows everything. So the narrator was really sad over the death of Mr. Gessler and to know the quality of the people, how they behave, rather than the quality of the person who did his work with full passion, with full trust and faith. Okay, I hope you understood. So we have completed this chapter. Okay, go through it. If you have any doubt, please ask me personally, WhatsApp me about it. Okay, and go through the revision of these chapters, and doubt, let us know. Okay, thank you class.